Biology tells us that brains are made of neurons that transmit electrical signals. The rate of firing tells how activated a neuron is. Based on the incoming signals, a neuron decides its activation. Perceptron. It receives input as a d-dimensional input vector. Each dimension has a weight, Wi, and the perceptron simply sums up all the weighted inputs, yi is equal to summation over I, wi xi. Based on this sum, the perceptron decides whether to be activated or not. Being activated can be considered as a positive label and not activated as a negative label. The threshold might also be sum of inputs is greater than some value b, which is called the bias. The bias increases the activation threshold by a fixed value b. So yi becomes summation over I wi xi plus b. So the perceptron has d plus 1 parameters, a d weights and a bias value b.
Now that we know what a perceptron is supposed to do, determine a hyperplane that separates the two classes it is implemented on. So now let's write the algorithm for our perceptron. So we will initialize our w vector as 0, that misclassifies everything. Now we start a while loop, while true, and this loop will keep on going on, and we define a new variable m equals to 0, which will keep the track of number of misclassification. So initially it is 0, and now we start another for loop of a pair of features and labels over all data set. Now if we misclassify our any data point, with a condition for that will be w star xi yi will be less than or equal to 0. So now if we misclassifies our data, we will update our weights such as w equals to w plus yx, and we increase our number of misclassification by 1. Now if we iterating over the entire data set with the current w vector give no classification, then the separating hyperplane has been found and while loop will be broken. So if our m equals to 0, which means there is no misclassification, then we will break our while loop. So now going again over the algorithm again, we will start with our w vector equals to 0. Initially the weight vector is all 0. While true, we repeatedly go over entire data set. We will repeatedly go over our entire data set and we count how many points we have misclassified. M here is our counter of how many points are misclassified. We go over the data set trying every single data point to see if it lies on the correct side of the hyperplane. So initially, so let's take a kind of example. So initially my w vector will be 0 and I would get my every single data point wrong. So I adjust my hyperplane every time I make a mistake, and looping over the data set, the moment I don't make a single mistake anymore for the entire data set, that means that all of the cross are on the one side of my hyperplane and all are the circle on the one side of my hyperplane, and then there are two classes are separated and we stop. Now if we take an example for this algorithm, so what we will do is basically, let's say I have 3 data points, 3 cross and 3 my circles. So initially my w vector will be 0. So I misclassifies. Here we can see I misclassified one cross and one circle. So now my WT vector will be in this direction. So I will start with my misclassified circle. So this will be, let me write big again. So let's say this is our data set, and I misclassified one point. So this is my initial W vector. So I misclassified my this will be my random WT vector. So I misclassified this point and this X point. So I will go first, I will write the condition for like which condition we are following. So all the cross points have label 1, which is equal to y equals to 1, and all the circle point will have label -1. And we have the condition W star X vector is greater than 0 for the cross, and W transpose X vector is less than 0 for my circles. So that will be cross and that will be for circles. Now what we see that I will start with the X, and this will be, let's say, my X vector. So now the label for this X vector is -1. That means I have to subtract from my WT. So what will I do? I will subtract -X vector. So that will be -X vector. We all know how vector algebra works. So the resulting WT vector will become as this one, new one, which will be my WT vector plus -X vector. Yes. So I got my new vector. So our hyperplane will be always perpendicular to our new the new vector. So this will be my new hyperplane. So here you can see that clearly all of our cross are on the another side, and which are on this side, and all the circle are on this another side. So we correctly classified them. So that's how we will go. We initially see how many wrongly classified data points were there. That was the 1 and 2 data points were misclassified, and we updated our weights such that, and we found our new hyperplane. And at the end of the algorithm, we don't have any misclassification. All 3 cross are on the same side, and all 3 circles are on the another side.
So implementation of the perceptron algorithm. First of all, we'll be creating a data set. So here is our data set. The data set consists of 2 classes of points which are linearly separable. So first of all, you have to keep in mind that the perceptron algorithm is an online algorithm. It considers one value at a time and updates the hyperplane if it is wrong. Since it updates the hyperplane whenever it makes a misclassification, it can be said to be error driven. So here we will be plotting the perceptron. So here we are running. So this is initially the hyperplane is this. So it made a misclassification, the hyperplane got updated. It is making a right classification, so the hyperplane is not being updated. Again it made a misclassification, the hyperplane got updated. It made a correct classification, no update, misclassification, update, correct classification, no update. It goes on. It made a misclassification, this red cross, misclassification, again a misclassification, correct classification, it is not being updated, a correct classification is not being updated, a correct classification not being updated. It made a misclassification, it was updated, misclassification, updated. let's see this hyperplane. It made a misclassification, it was updated. Now it's making correct classification. It is making a correct classification. It is making a correct classification. It is making a correct classification, though the margin is very less. It is making a correct classification, and this is also making a correct classification, and this. So for all these 7 data points, it has made a correct classification. So our hyperplane is not changing anymore. And in the end, we plot our how the error changes with the epoch. So as we can see, initially we had a high error, then the perceptron reduced as the epoch increases, and within 20 epochs our perceptron had converged. It is giving 0 errors.
Now continuing the same example, analyzing the example, what we do is, for every x and y element of our data set which we have in data set, the point is classified. So does that point lie on the correct side of the hyperplane? So the positive points should lie on the positive side and the negative points should lie on the negative side. So if it does, I do not know anything, but if it does not, then I increase my counter because I made a mistake, and I adjust my hyperplane, which is my w vector, such that the now hopefully I am on the correct side of the hyperplane. So if it is a positive, so the labels will be y equals to 1, w transpose t x vector will be greater than 0, and label equals to -1, which means for that the condition will be w transpose x will be less than 0, and the combined condition will be my y w transpose x is greater than 0. So the overall condition for which all of the points are correctly classified are this condition. So if the point is positive and it is misclassified, then it is added to w, so that the next time the inner product is taken, it would be little larger, and hopefully it will be positive. But if it is a negative point, in that case, then it is subtracted from the w, and the next time the inner product would be a little smaller, and hopefully it would be negative side. So the label -1 and the product would be positive, resulting in a correct classification. So we loop over the entire data set till our m becomes ultimately 0, and then we break our loop, and if it must be separating our hyperplanes.
Hyperplane defined by W here misclassifies one point each with a label +1 and -1. If the red data point is chosen, then the weight vector will be updated because it is misclassified. As its label is -1, x is subtracted from the weight vector W. So we subtract the weight vector x from the vector x from the weight vector W. The updated hyperplane correctly classifies all the data points in the two classes, and hence the iteration stops.
Now let's talk about the convergence of our algorithm. Why does this algorithm always give a separating hyperplane if it exists? So let's assume that the perceptron is there exists a perceptron w which separate our data points. We will call it, let's say, w star. So our algorithm gives a separating hyperplane which would be close to it. So we define our w star such that our all the data points, the yi w star vector transpose x vector is greater than 0 for every data point. So for which will be xi yi in the element of the 0, it will not be, this will not be vector. So now To avoid dealing with the scale of the W vector, we fix our scale and we rescale our W star such that its norm is 1. So we will rescale each data point such that our W star norm will become 1, and we can rescale our data too to simplify the proof such that for every xi the norm is less than or equals to 1. So basically my norm of the each data point xi vector will be less than 1 or equal to 1 for every xi in the data set. So how we will achieve this norm equals to 1? So we will pick up our any xi and we will divide it by the maximum of the data point. So the point which is maximum in our data set will divided to the each of our data point, and that will obviously give us the maximum or less than or equals to 1 condition for xi. And so there is this vector W star, and after each update our W becomes closer to W star. Now what happens to the W transpose W star after an update? How does it W changes? So it would be shown that it become larger at every time, but it is not a simple case of the magnitude of W increasing. Now, so before I go, let me define margin, a term, and I will define my margin lambda such that a minimum of xi yi element of D transpose xi. So I will define my margin forces that now my W vector becomes more similar to the W star vector, resulting in a large inner product. To confirm this, we will show W star W vector and W star W transpose increases, but at the same time our W transpose W vector not that rapidly. So W vector tilts around the W vector and eventually they become very close, and when there is an update of the W vector becomes my W vector plus y of x vector. So the only reason we update it because our x is misclassified, and so for the condition for misclassification will be basically simple: x vector is less than 0, and we are only doing update because our x is misclassified. So if we make an update, how does it affect W transpose W star? So now we will be studying this thing, like how it will affect our W and W transpose. So let me delete all this rough. So now substituting the update in our W vector transpose W star, I will get W vector plus y of x vector transpose W vector star, and that will be simply equals to W transpose W star plus y of x vector dot W vector star, and this is clearly greater than or equal to W vector transpose W star plus lambda. So here my lambda is margin of a minimum of a W transpose x vector. So this is the minimum of our W star and x. So clearly the y times this obviously will be greater than or equal to the lambda. So that basically the second term is the distance of the hyperplane from x, and lambda is the minimum, so it must be greater than lambda. On making an update, the inner product of the hyperplane we are looking for W star with the current hyperplane grows by at least lambda. We can see that after the update our W transpose W star get increased at least by lambda. So it is a concrete number and it is not a some function. So now we will see like what happens to our W transpose W. We see our W transpose W star converges, but by increases by each time. But does that happen with the W transpose W too? So after an update, I will have W transpose W vector plus Y X vector transpose W vector plus Y X vector, and after simplifying the simply values will be W vector transpose W plus 2 times Y W transpose dot X vector plus Y square X vector. Now we know that we misclassified a point, so which means Y W star X must be less than 0, and Y square is always 1, we know that, and as we know that we normalized our X, so my X square will be always less than or equal to 1, because I normalize my X which is less than 1, and its square will also less than or equal to 1. So my overall expression would be W transpose W vector plus 1, which no less than or equal to the plus 1. So now we will after each update, while the squared norm is W changes by at most 1, so we see our W transpose W at least changes by 1 amount. So they must converge at some point, and let's say we make I update in all. So overall we make I update in our data set. So I update let I be the total number of iteration. So if I make I times update in all my data set, so my W star will start from 0, and then my W transpose W star increases by at least lambda in each update. So my after I update, it must be at least I times lambda, right? So I am making update, and each time my W transpose W star is increasing by lambda, so after I update it must be at least I times lambda, and I can simply write this term as W transpose W star norm, and using a little math, I can write this as W vector and W vector star by using the Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. Now that will be my simply becomes W vector. Why? Because I rescaled my W star as 1, because I rescaled it in the beginning. So I will simply end up with a W vector, and I can write that as similarly W vector transpose W vector, and this is clearly nothing but less than iota, root iota. So now if we square on the both sides, let me square on the both sides, so that will be I square lambda square is less than or equal to iota, I not iota, then my simple I would be less than or equal to 1 by lambda square. So now I get this relation that my I would be less than or equal to 1 by lambda square. So it can at most I iteration, and we get I updates, so it cannot be more than 1 by lambda square. So there cannot be more than so it cannot move than 1 by lambda square update. So the algorithm will converge in a finite number of steps, and the number of update it bound by the distance w star is from the closest data point. Now there can be many such separating hyperplanes with w star. Which one do we pick? So the one with the largest margin, the perceptron converges for any separating hyperplane, but we prefer the one with the largest possible margin. So if the data points are well separable, the two sets data points are far away, well separable, and the algorithm will converge quickly for that data set. And the perceptron does not find the hyperplane with the largest margin. Spot vector machine does that.
The data points that it encounters later are given more weightage than the data points it has encountered earlier. Consider a data set with 10,000 examples. Suppose that after the first 100 examples, the perceptron has learned a good classifier. It goes over the next 9,899 examples without any updates. It reaches the 10,000th example, makes an error and then updates. This update changes the weight vector and that correctly classifies 99.99% of the data. Therefore, the weight vector that correctly classifies a large number of points should have a more influence in determining the separating hyperplane. So suppose here I have a data set here with the deep blue and the light blue lines. When I run a perceptron algorithm on it, the separating hyperplane is this. It gives an error of 0.63, which is quite a lot of error, which has been caused due to the updation of these data points on the edge here. One way to achieve the influence of all the hyperplanes is by voting. As the perceptron learns, it keeps a count of the number of points correctly classified by a particular weight vector. During testing, each hyperplane encountered during training has a weighted vote on the test example. So in voted perceptron, the CK is the weight by which each weight vector has in the voting example. So this is the result of a voted perceptron. So in the voted perceptron, we see that the hyperplane is a more satisfactory hyperplane with the extreme hyperplanes having much less weights. The error has also decreased to 0.25, which is much less than the error that had been encountered earlier, 0.63. So voted perceptron achieves a much more greater generalization than the normal perceptron algorithm. However, this voted perceptron has a big issue. It is impractical to store the number of updates the weight vector undergoes, along with the counts for each weight vector. It requires too much memory. A more practical alternative is the average perceptron, where the predicted class label is done by an average weight vector instead of the voting vector. So here we assign a weight Ck to a weight vector Wk. So interchanging the order of the summations, it can be considered as a running sum of the average weight vector. It reduces the amount of memory that is required. The average perceptron is almost more generalized than the vanilla perceptron. So again here we run the average perceptron, and the average perceptron has an error of 0.28, which is comparable to the voted perceptron, but it requires a much less memory. So I select the number of data points, let it be 100 data points, and then I generate the data, and then I fit my perceptron on it. So it is fitting my perceptron. As you can see, Here is the number of iterations and here is the error for each iteration. As we can see, it has fitted my hyperplane in 34 iterations. The number of iterations is inversely proportional to the square of the margin. So here again I'll be generating some data set. Let's have 100 data points, and suppose let me keep the margin at around 20%. And then I generate my data and then I fit my perceptron. As we can see, my perceptron was fitted when the margin was 20% in 6 iterations. Let me decrease my margin to 10% now. I'll generate my data again and then I fit my perceptron. So in this case it took 5 iterations. So generally it should take more iterations. Let me generate a different data set. So this time it's taking 11 iterations. On an average it should take a larger number of iterations. Again, if I still decrease my margin to 5% and then I generate a data set and again fit my perceptron, again my perceptron is being fitted. And this time it took 19 iterations to fit my data set. So as we can see, as the margin decreases, we require a larger number of iterations for the perceptron algorithm to converge. Let's have 50 data points with 10% overlap, and let's set the number of iterations as 5 iterations. I generate my data and then I fit my perceptron. As you can see, these are all the votes. Whatever is darker has a larger number of votes, and as you can see, this one has the largest number of votes. And then I'll be continuing all my iterations. So in this iteration, this is my voted perceptron. As you can see, this line has 18 votes, this line has 7 votes, this line all have different votes. So let me change my number of data points to 100 say, and let me increase my overlap to around 25%, and my number of iterations we leave it as 5, and again we generate some data and we try to fit our perceptron. So as we can see, these are all the perceptron hyperplanes that are being generated while the data is being learned. So as we can see, all these hyperplanes, this one suppose has 5 votes, this one has votes 2, this one has votes 6. So all these are weighted by the votes. This one has votes 9, this one has votes 5. So this is how my voted perceptron will be looking. So each of my hyperplane is multiplied by the weight while getting the prediction, and that weight is the number of data points it has classified correctly. It is called the number of votes. Suppose this is 5 for this hyperplane, it is 12 for this hyperplane. So my algorithm has terminated with the final slope, which is the weight of all these slopes being 2.388.